Tell me if you have ever heard someone say multitasking is a woman's superpower. But I just want to tell you today that doing everything is not why you are coping. Doing everything is exactly why you actually feel like you are constantly behind, no matter how much you do get done. And I know that doesn't make sense, or maybe it does. Maybe there's a part of you that says, yeah, that makes sense, but why? If you are anything like the women that I work with, doing everything is exactly how you have held your life together. It's how you have made sure that no balls get dropped, that nothing falls through the cracks, and it's how you keep everyone moving, everything moving, everybody happy. And yet, it still feels like you are always one step behind on everything, like you are just never on top. And that is what we need to understand. Why does that happen? So, uh, it's not like we as women consciously decide, I am going to take responsibility for everything. I'm going to be the linchpin. I'm going to be the one that keeps everything moving. The taking on of everything that we seem to end up doing happens gradually. And as that happens, you become the capable one, you become the reliable one, you become the one who can be trusted. And then over time, as you become that person, you start to take on that role in how you show up, in how you behave. So you start to notice everything that needs doing. You start to anticipate everything that needs doing before it even needs doing. And then you step in everywhere, at work, at home, in your relationships. You're the one who puts your hand up, I'll do it. And then that just starts to feel normal. So that just starts to feel like, oh, this is just what I do. Or more importantly, this is just who I am. And then everyone says, oh, you are so fabulous. You're so amazing. You're so capable. You're so organized and on top and in charge. And so we go through this shift that we do not even see as happening, this kind of invisible shift where responsibility, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, being responsible is a good thing, but we experience this shift where it turns into over responsibility. And when we are in this place of over responsibility, you no longer just do your role. You start doing parts of other people's roles. You take on parts of other people's roles. You carry all the emotional load. You carry all the mental tracking. You carry all the thinking that needs to be done around everything. And you put your hand up for everything. And because you are capable, and also because you appear so absolutely willing to do everything, nobody stops you, because why would they? It's wonderful. They have someone who will do it all. But this over responsibility is a trap. And the thing about the trap is that it feels great. It feels really good. The story you run with when you are operating in this way is, I'm being productive. I'm being helpful. I'm performing really, really well. And also, I'm getting praised for it. And yet, under the surface, there is a whole another thing going on that is actually sabotaging your performance, sabotaging your productivity, sabotaging the way that you show up. So I see this play out in real life all the time. One of my best stories around this is I had a client who told me when we first started working together, she said, listen, I have a 10-week shelf life. So she would push and she would perform and she would do brilliantly for 10 weeks, and then she would have that all fall down, that collapse. She'd get sick, she'd go to bed, she'd recover from that push, and then she'd get herself up again and she'd get back on the wheel for that next 10-week run. And that is just how she'd been doing it for years and years and years. And I work with clients like her all the time. And, whether it's something like this where you drive yourself and then collapse, or lots of women who've been booked off for work for weeks because of their stress, because they're experiencing burnout. I work with women who have left their jobs because they just couldn't keep it up anymore. And this is what over responsibility costs you. It costs you your capacity, it costs you your health, it can cost you your job. And it is not a willpower problem. And it's not a lack of capability problem. It's not that you can't do the work. This, the issue, the fundamental issue is an identity problem. So let's look at what is actually happening and why there is this issue that we're dealing with. So, as I say, I have the privilege of working with many women, and I see the same pattern over and over again. So these women are busy, they get things done, they're on it all day long, but they do not feel effective. They do not feel like they are getting anywhere. They may have been constantly on all day and moving through things, but they are absolutely mentally exhausted. And they push themselves to do more and more and more, to the point of that state that we all know, or we've all been close to, that state of burnout. And then what happens? When we are in that state or close to, our attention is fragmented. So then you begin to struggle to focus. Your energy is diluted. You feel depleted. Your ability to think is constantly interrupted. Your ability to see the wood for the trees is just so blurred. And this has a direct impact on decision making, on creativity, on strategic thinking, on focus, on presence. And so instead of performing at your best, you end up operating at a kind of partial capacity across everything that you do. And then you find yourself in a cycle where, oh, now I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing well enough. So then you push yourself even further. So let's think about this in a real life situation. Let's think about a morning when you wake up and there is just so much to do. I had one of those mornings this morning. We've got so much going on at home and deadlines at work and things just running through my brain. So let's think about that morning. You wake up, there are school things you've signed up for. Maybe you are a class rep, or there's something that you signed up for. You've got supper to think about tonight that you haven't taken anything out of the freezer for, or you've got to take something out of the freezer for. You've got a deadline coming up. So you get out of bed, you want to get everybody going, no one's moving. You shout at the children. As a result, you get to work and you feel guilty, so then you can't focus on work. You don't get through what you need to get through. You feel frustrated. You leave home. You don't have time to, leave work. You don't have time to kind of prep yourself to walk through the door. So you come through the front door thinking about all you've still got to get done. You shout at the children. You go to bed feeling guilty. You wake up feeling exhausted. And you're in the cycle. And over time, your performance in that situation is not going to improve. It's going to plateau or it's going to drop. And this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you are not capable of performing at that high level. You're not capable. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you are not capable at performing really, really well. It is because your capacity is being drained. And I want to first say something very, very clearly here. It's not that you are doing too little or doing too much. It's actually that you are just doing too much of the things that don't actually require you to take them on. And also that you are making them urgent, but they are not urgent. We take on too much and we make it into these things that we have to do today, these messages that we have to reply to today. Otherwise, what? And I'm going to get to that now. So, uh, what often gets misinterpreted, especially in performance reviews, where women are told that they need to do more of this and less of that, is that it is a behavior problem, so, or a behavior pattern. So you need to do more of this, or you need to do less of this. We say, I shouldn't do that, or I should do more of that. And we're always looking at our behavior and what we need to change in our behavior. But this is not a behavior pattern. The problem that we have is this identity pattern that we are living out. This over responsibility. Underneath the over responsibility, underneath the doing everything, is usually what we call a wanted identity. This is an identity that drives behaviors that we have been praised for in the past. It's an identity that we move towards. So I really want to be seen as the responsible one, or it's really important for me to be the achiever. I'm praised when I achieve. I'm praised when I'm the good girl. I'm praised when I'm the reliable one. And the problem is that these identities then drive you with specific rules that then drive the behaviors that you were praised for that are now sabotaging you. So maybe a rule might be, I can't let people down, because you have always been praised for stepping in, for doing what you said you were going to do. So now the rule that drives your behavior is, I cannot let people down. And perhaps, the capable one, the one who's always been able to do everything, get it all done, being so organized, I should be able to handle this. Or if the perfectionist, if I don't do it, it won't get done properly. And it needs to be done properly. And I get praised for doing it properly. So you don't then choose to do everything. You feel like you have to do everything in order to maintain the reputation of that wanted identity that you have. So let's look at someone, because what happens then is that you drive, you have your 10-week shelf life, you have a collapse, and then you come back again and you drive. What happens, on the other hand, to the woman who performs at a high level sustainably, who maintains that level, who doesn't collapse at the 10-week mark? That woman does not do everything. And there may be a little part of you that goes, oh no, maybe I don't want to be her then. So that woman is selective. She is intentional. She is very clear about what she gives her energy and her attention to. She understands that good performance, peak performance, is not about doing more. Her performance depends on doing the things that matter really, really well. So what might a woman like this practice? She might practice things that feel a little bit uncomfortable. So doing something well doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. So she might let things be imperfect in order to make them actually move forward. She might trust others to do things and might not have to micromanage. And this amazingly allows other people to step up and to show themselves off, to showcase themselves. She may not have to fill every gap with doing something. We all know this one where, someone was saying to me the other day, I drive with my phone in the boot of the car because otherwise I'm on my phone all the time. And we fill every gap. We take our phones to the loo with us because now I'm in the loo and I can do something. And yet, when we give ourselves those moments to be peaceful with ourselves, or even to notice the thoughts that are running through our heads, it just gives us a little bit more space, a little bit more capacity. And most importantly about these women is that they trust that things will not fall apart when they stop over functioning, when they stop taking, I don't know if that's a word, but or a noun, taking over responsibility. So this is the perspective shift that I want you to take away from our conversation today. When you stop doing everything, you do not become less effective. In fact, it's absolutely the opposite. You become more effective when you stop taking on the responsibility, when you stop over functioning, because you move from a place of reacting to everything that is coming at you to a place of choosing, what am I going to give my energy to? What is really important for me to focus on today? Then you can move from carrying all this very heavy responsibility and you can actually start delegating. You can direct others to take some of it on and you can trust them to do so. And it's very liberating. It's absolutely amazing. And most importantly, you move from this place of running around, racing frenetically, doing everything, to a place of leading. You lead yourself in the way that you show up. You lead your home in the way that you come in peacefully, calm, in control, and that impacts and influences the experience of your home. You lead your workplace in the same way. You trust others, you delegate, you create an environment of confidence and peace and calm. And then your performance and the performance of all of those around you improves in all of these areas. You see your career expanding. You see your home becoming a place where people want to be. You see your life feeling like the one that you have been trying to create all along by doing everything. Doing everything does not make you better. In fact, doing everything makes you slower and more exhausted. So for today, I really want to invite you to choose one thing. Choose one thing you delegate, or you delay, or you delete. Just rub it out and see what happens. And if you hear while you're trying to do that, I'm going to delete, I'm going to delegate, I'm going to delay, and you hear your good girl or you hear your responsible one shouting out, no, can't do that. You just turn to her gently and you just say, I hear you. It's okay. We are safe to put this one thing down just for today. And the more you do that, the more she will know it's okay not to do it all.